Okay. So we started with functions, right? So I said how to write a function. So function, you're writing a function by using the keyword called def, and it followed by function name and followed by arguments, and you are including some statement. Now this is called as documentation. It's called as a documentation. So you can write a documentation. This is a syntax of writing user-defined function. This is a syntax of writing user-defined function. But by just writing a function, function will not be executed. Okay, by writing a function, so here you're writing a function. So how you are writing a function? By using a def, it followed by function name. So what is the name of the function? Function 1. Okay, what is the name of the function here? Function 1. And here I'm writing print inside what here? Function 1. Okay, so by writing a function, function will not be executed. By writing a function will not be executed. See here. Is it any output here? No, because this is only writing the function. And you are writing a function with arguments. A function can be defined. A function can be defined with arguments. A function can be defined. A function can be defined without arguments. So you can write a function in two ways. You can write a function with arguments. You can write a function without arguments. A function without arguments, okay, cannot receive what here? Input. A function with arguments receive what is that? Input. A function without arguments cannot receive input, but a function with arguments receive what here? Input. So if you want to give the input, now this is a function without arguments. This is a function without arguments. It means this function will not receive any input. Okay, so by writing a function will not be executed. It should be called as an executable statement. It should be called as an executable statement. This is invoking function or executing or calling the function. Invoking the function or calling function. So until function is not invoked, the function is not executed. This is invoking the function or calling the function. This is again invoking function, or this is again calling which one here? Function. So you are trying to invoke the function. See how many times it is called? 3 times. So whenever you call the function, the execution control switched from calling calling place to called place. So whenever you call the function, now how many executable statements are there? 3. So these are called which statements? Executable statements. These are called executable statements. Okay, always Python look for which statements? Executable statements, and then execute one by one. Always Python look for which statements? Executable statements, and execute all the statements one by one. So first it execute function 1, and after executing the function 1, the control is written to calling place, and then again it will call the function 1, and after executing the function 1, return to the calling place. So after executing this again, it will call the function 1. After executing the function 1, it will return to which place? Calling place. After executing the function 1, it will return to which place? Calling place. So a function without arguments means I cannot give any input to this. Means it will not receive any values. So by writing a function is not executed. By writing a function, okay. So how many times I call this function here? 3 times. So you can see the message. How many times can you see the message here? 3 times. A function is not executed by defining function, or a function is not executed. A function is not executed automatically. A function is not executed automatically. It has to be called. It has to be called as an executable. It has to be called as an executable statement. By defining function, it is not called automatically. By defining a function, it is not called automatically. Okay, by defining function, it is not called automatically. You have to write, you have to call the function as an executable statement. So the memory for function is allocated. Memory for function is allocated when function is called, and deallocated allocated when function is called, and deallocated after execution of what? Function. So the memory for the function is allocated when function is called, or invoked, and deallocation is done after execution of what? Function. Allocation is done when function is called, and deallocation is done after execution of what? Function. Okay. So memory is allocated when the function is called, and deallocation is done after execution of what? Function. Okay. For example, see here. Now this is a function without arguments. For example, I'm writing a function called drawLine. So drawLine is a function, right? So this function doesn't receive any values. Okay. And you cannot write a function. Empty. Empty blocks are not allowed. In Python, empty blocks are not allowed. If you are trying to execute it, it is given error saying that expected an indented block After function definition on line number 2. It means this is a block, but this block is empty. So the function must have at least how many statements? One statement. If you want to write empty block, you write empty block by including which statement? Pass. But you cannot write empty blocks. If you want to write empty block, you have to include which statement here? Pass. So draw line is a function which will try to draw the line. So for I in range of some 20, this for loop is repeated how many times? 20 times. This for loop is repeated how many times here? 20 times. And after that, I insert one new line. So what is the name of the function? Draw line. So if I run this, it just draw the line. And after drawing the line, I want to display the message Python. And again, I call the function draw line. This is called reusability. What is the advantage of writing functions? Reusability. Means you are writing the code how many times here? One time. You are writing the code how many times here? One time. And you are using it how many times here? Number of times. You are writing the code how many times here? One time. And you are using it how many times here? Number of times. So how many times you call it? Now draw the line and then Python. Draw the line and then programming. And again draw the line. Okay. So I can say printer. Okay, language. Okay, language. And again I call the function draw line. So how many times I call it? Now I call 1, 2, 3, and 4. But how many times this code is written? Only one time. You write the code once and use how many times? Number of times. You write the code once, you write the code how many times? One time, and you can use that code how many times? Number of times. You write the code once, and you can use that code how many times here? Number of times. Okay. So that is a function without arguments. Okay, that is a function without arguments. Means I cannot send any input to that function because it is not with arguments. It is without arguments. So then we'll talk about local variables. Local variables. So the variables declared, the variables declared, the variables declared inside a function are called local variables. So the variables what you declare inside the function, the variables what you declare inside the function, okay, that variables, you are saying it as which variables? Local variables. The variables declare inside the function are called as a local variables. Okay. So these variables are used. These variables are used within function and cannot accessible, cannot accessible where outside the function, cannot accessible outside the function. So the whatever variables you declare inside the function. So how you are writing the function? You are writing the function by using the keyword called def. So def, it followed by function name and followed by, okay, you may write a function with arguments. You may write a function with arguments or without arguments. And inside this, you declare some variables. And these variables, you call it as which one? Local variables. So whatever variables you write inside the function are called as which variables? Local variables. So where I can use this data, I can use this data only within this function. I cannot use this data outside the function. I can use this data only within the function. I cannot use this data outside the function. No. Where I can use this data only inside the function. I cannot use this data where outside the function. No. Because it is which variables? Local variables. These are called which variables here? Local variables. Just to see here, whatever variables you declare inside the function. Suppose I'm saying x equal to 100. This is called as which variable? Local variable. If I'm saying y equal to 200, this is called as which variable? Local variable. I can write print x comma, what is that? Y. I write another function 2, p equal to some 300 and q equal to 400. What is p here? Local variable. P is called as a local variable. And then q is there. Q is called as which variable? Local variable. Then I'm saying print p comma, what is that? Q. But where I can use these variables only inside the function, but I cannot access these variables outside. You can see 100, 200 and 300 and what? 400. Okay, 100 and 200 and 300 and 400. Suppose assume that there is a function 3. Can I able to access x and y which are there in function 1 inside function 3? No, I cannot access it because these variables are what? Local variables. Because these variables are what? Local variables. What will happen if I call the function 3? Immediately it is given error saying that name error, x is not defined. X is not defined, but where x is not defined? In function 3. But x is defined. X and y are defined in what? Function 1. But x and y are not defined in what? Function 3. X and y are defined in function 1, but x and y are not defined in function 3. So that's the reason it is given error. What is this error here? Name error. Name x is not defined. Name x is not defined. So that is what you mean by name error, right? That is called as a name error, right? This is called as an error. Okay, so this is called as an error because local variables are used only inside the function in which it is declared, but cannot accessible where? Outside. Cannot accessible where? Outside. So the output is error here because you are trying to access x and y, So this is displayed output like this: 100, 200, 300, 400. But there is a name error. What is that error? Is name X is not defined. Name X is not defined. Where it is not defined? Inside function 3. So if you want to declare a variable which is used inside more than one function, then you can go for which variables? Global variables. Okay, local means only inside the function. Global, the variables declared outside the function are called global variables. These variables can be used, anywhere, anywhere within, program, anywhere within program, and outside the program. So these variables can be used anywhere within program and outside the program. These variables can be used anywhere within program and outside the program. Anywhere you can use it, either inside the program or you can use it outside the program. But the variables declared outside the function are called which variables? Global variables. In order to share data between, number of functions, we declare that variables, as what? Global. In order to share data between number of functions, then we declare that variables as what? Global. If I want to declare a variables like a equal to 100, this is called as which variable? Global variable. B equal to 200, this is called as which variable? Global variable. There is a function 1. Within this, I can say print a comma b. There is a function 2. Here I can write print a comma b. There is a function 3 where I said print a comma b. So it is looking for a and b variables within function 1. Is it variables a and b are there in function 1? No. Next priority is given to what? Global. Is it a and b are there? Yes. It look for a and b variables inside a function 2. Is it variables a and b are there inside function 2? No. Next priority is given to the global and access the value of a and what is that? B. So that is the function 3. Within function 3, it look for the variables a and b. Is it a and b are there? No. So first priority is given to the local. Okay, first priority is given to the local namespace. If it is not available in local namespace, okay, it is not available in the local namespace, then it look inside what? Global namespace. Now you can see 100, 200, 100, 200. So when you run this program, it will try to execute all executable statements. This is executable statement. This is executable statement. This is executable statement. This is executable statement. This is also executable statement. How many executable statements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many executable statements are there? 5 executable statements are there. How many executable statements are there? 5. 5 executable statements are there. Okay, 5 executable statements are there. Okay, yes. So you can have any number of global variables. Okay, how many executable statements are there? 5 executable statements are there. But these variables are called as a global. So what will happen is the Python will create one dictionary. Python will create one dictionary called which one? Global. And within this dictionary, it will try to put all global variables. So there is a key. Key is a variable name and value is what? 100. Key is a variable name and value is what? 200. So it will create a global namespace. So here namespace in this case, it is called as one dictionary. Namespace in this case, it's called as one dictionary. Then call which function? Function 1. Now it look for A and B variables inside function 1. Is it variable A and B are there in function 1? No. Then search in which one? Global. Is it A is there? Yes. What is the value of A? 100. So get the value of 100 and get the value of 200. Then after that call the function 2. Is it A and B are there in function 2? No. Then access the value of A which is 100. Access the value of B which is 200. Then call the function 3. Call the function 3 and again print A and B values. So is it A and B are there in function 3? No. Then look for A and B in a global. So what is the value of A? 100. What is the value of B? 200. So if you want to access in more than one function, if you want to access in more than one function, then declare that variables as a, if you want to access in more than one function, then declare that variables as global. Then declare that variables as what here? Global, right? So you can have any number of global variables. A equal to 100. So here I'm saying x equal to 300. This is which variable? Global variable. This is also which variable? Global variable. This is which variable? Local variable. So I'm trying to print format. Okay, format global variable A. So formatting global variable. So I just write here B, print format local variable is what here? X. So when I say A, it look for A variable inside the function 1. Is it variable A is there in function 1? No. Next priority is given to what? Global. It look for the variable B inside the function 1. Is it variable B is there in function 1? No. Next priority is given to the global. It look for the variable X inside the function 1. Is it variable X is there in function 1? Yes. Access which variable? Local variable. Access which variable here? Local variable. Okay, right? So that is a global and yes. So function one. So first priority is always now if I'm writing a equal to some 700 and b equal to 800. If I'm writing a equal to 700 and b equal to 800, so these are called which variables? Local variables. Now in this case, a and b are which variables? Local variable. So what will happen is, always in Python, you are using assignment operator for creating variable. So when you're writing a equal to 700, it look for the variable a inside the function 2. Is it variable a is there in function 2? No. Then it will create a variable a. It will create a variable a. It will create a variable a inside the function 2. But this will not assign this 700 toward global. The 700 will not be assigned to what here? Global. But it will assign this 700 to which variable? Local variable. Okay, if the variable is there, okay, so always assignment operator is used for creating variables here. So accessing can be done directly. Okay, accessing of global variable can be done directly, but assignment will not be done directly. Here we access the value of A and we access the value of what? B. But here we are assigning value to A. But which A? Is it this A is referring to the global? No. So whenever you do the assignment, right, it will try to assign it to, whenever you are trying to assign, first it will search for this variable in local. Means it will search for a variable in function 2. Is it variable a is there inside function 2? No. It will create. It will create a variable in function 2, but it will not assign the 700 to what? Global. It is print. Okay, print format. This is which variable? Local variable a. Print local variable. What is this? B. There is a function 3. In function 3, if I'm saying global variable, what is that? A. I just write global variable. What is this here? B. So how many functions are there here? 3 functions. Okay. How many functions are there here? 3 functions. So here I call the function 1. I call the function 2. I call the function 3. Called function 1, function 2 and function 3. I called the function 1, function 2 and function 3. You can see global 100, 200, local 300, 700, 800 and global 100 and 200. Local 700 and 800 AB values. Okay. Yes. So what will happen here is, so it allocates. There is a global namespace is created, which is called as a global dictionary. There's a global dictionary which is having 2 variables. One is A as well as 100. There's a B as well as what here? 200. Then call the function 1. So there is a memory reserved for the function 1. There is a memory reserved for the function 1. Within function 1, it look for the variable x. Is it variable x is there in function 1? No. It will create. It will create x equal to what here? 100. Print the value of a. It look for a variable in function 1. Is it variable a is there in function 1? No. Then search in global. A is there? Yes. What is the value of a here? 100. Look for the b variable inside function 1. Is it variable b is there inside function 1? No. Then search in global, which is 200. Then local variable x, it look for variable x within function 1. Is it variable x is there in function 1? Yes. Get the value of x, which is x value is what? 300. What is the value of x here? 300. Is it execution of function is over? Yes. Return to the calling place. Once it is written, this memory is deallocated. And then call the function 2 now. Call the function 2. There is a memory reserved for which function? Function 2. Inside function 2, it look for variable a. Is it variable a is there inside function 2? No. Create it. Create it because are you accessing or assigning? Are you accessing or assigning? Assigning. You're not accessing it. You're assigning. Then it look for variable a in function 2. Is it a is there in function 2? No. Then it is creating. Then b equal to 800. You are assigning 800 to the b. Is it variable b is there in function 2? No. It will create it. What is the value of b here? 800. Then what is the value of a here? 700. What is the value of b here? 800. Is it execution of function 2 is over? Yes. Then this memory is unreserved. Then call the function 3. Then it look for variable a in function 3. Is it variable a is there in function 3? No. Is it variable a is there inside function 3? No. Then it's search in global. Is it a is there in function 3? Yes. Global 100 and then what? 200. 100 and 200. Okay. Yes. So it means we cannot assign values to the global variable directly. We cannot assign values to the global variables directly inside the function. We cannot access values to the global, you cannot assign values to the global variables directly. You cannot assign values to the global variables directly inside the function. We cannot assign values to global variables directly inside function. Directly inside function. In order to assign values to global variables inside function, so we use a keyword. We use a keyword called which one? Global. What is the keyword we are using here? Global keyword. Okay. So a function can access global variables directly, but cannot assign values. We cannot assign values to the global variables directly. Okay, directly inside function. A function can access global variables directly. Accessing can be done directly, but assignment is not done directly. If you are trying to assign it, it is trying to create a new variable. If you are trying to assign it, it's creating a new variable. So to assign it to the global, you are using a keyword called which one? global keyword. So there is a keyword called global. There is a keyword called global. What is the keyword I'm using? Global statement or global keyword. Now, the global statement is a declaration. The global statement is a declaration which holds for the entire current code blocks. It means that listed identifiers are to be interpreted as what? Globals. It would be impossible to assign value to global variable. See here, it would be impossible to assign value to global variable without global keyword. Although free variables may refer to globals without being declared what? Global. So accessing can be done. Accessing can be done directly. Okay, accessing can be done directly, but modification cannot be done directly. Accessing can be done directly, but modification cannot be done directly. So you are trying to use a global keyword. Okay, right? So I cannot, for example, I'm saying A equal to 100 and B equal to 200. This is called which variable? Global variable. And this is also called which variable? Global variable. So I want to assign value to global variables. If I'm writing here A equal to 600, it will create which variable? Local variable. You cannot assign value to the global variable directly. If I'm writing a equal to 600, is it the 600 is assigned to a variable of global? No. It will create a variable inside what? Function 1. But my requirement is I want to assign the 600 to which variable? Global variable. Then how can you assign it? By using the keyword called which one? Global. So global A comma B. Global A comma B. Now you are telling the Python runtime that so these variables after this statement, whenever you are referring A and B, whenever you are referring A and B, that will refer to which variables? Global variables. If I'm writing B equal to 700, so this 600 is assigned to the global variable A, and this 700 is assigned to the global variable what? B. The 600 is assigned to the global variable A, and the 700 is assigned to the global variable what? B. Okay. And then I try to print. This is which variables? Global. I can format it, right? Global variable. I print a value and format some global variable. I can print which value? B value. In function 2, I can access. Accessing can be done directly. Accessing can be done directly. Global variable. I'm trying to access which one? A. And I'm trying to access global variable. Accessing can be done directly, but modification cannot be done directly. You have to use. This is invoking function 1, and this is invoking function 1 and function 2. So when you run this, now you can see 600, 700, 600 and what? 700. So what will happen here is, so there is a memory allocated for which variables? Global variables. There is a memory allocated for global variables where is a whose value is 100. There's a variable B whose value is what here? 200. So here global, here global is referring to which variables? Global variables. Okay, you are telling that AB variables, AB are not local. These are which variables? Global. After this declaration, whenever you are writing A equal to 600, it is referring to which variable? Global variable. And it changes value from 100 to what here? 600. It changes value from 100 to what here? 600. And when I say B equal to 700, this value changed from 200 to what? 700. Then print A means it is looking for which variable? A. And what is the A value? 600. What is the B value? 700. Then execution of function is over. Then call the function to then global variable A. Looking for A variable in function 2. Is it variable A is there in function 2? No. Then it get the value from global. What is the global A here? 600. Then look for the variable B in function 2. Is it variable B is there in function 2? No. It look inside global. What is the value of this here? 700. So it means it is not possible to assign value to the global variable. It is not possible to the what local variables in outside. What is that question? What is the question? What local variables outside? I didn't get. Local variables, how you write outside? Local variable should be right inside function only. How you write outside here? Local variable should be there inside the function only. You cannot write outside. There's no keyword also. Okay, local variable should be inside only. It should not be outside. There's no keyword also. Okay, right? It is like this. But if local and global variables are with the same name, suppose I'm writing A equal to 100 and B equal to 200. So what you can do is, so there is a function 1. Within function 1, I said A equal to 600. This is called which variable? Local variable. And B equal to 700. This is called which variable? Local variable. So this is a local variable A value. Okay, local variable A value format. This is local variable, which value? B value. Now, even I want to access A and B of global. Okay, because this A and B are which one? Local. But I want to access A and B of local also, global also. Then I can use global. So global, global of, I'm just writing here A. Global of A. What I'm writing here? Global of A. I just write here global of A. What is this global of A here? So function 1, see there is one function called globals. So there is a function called globals. Return a dictionary implementing the current module namespace. Yes. Globals. You are trying to use one function called which one? Globals. So globals dot, okay, globals of A. I said globals of A. Globals is a function. So that will return global dictionary. So what is the value of global variable here? Yes. So I can write like this. Can I get the global dictionary? Yes. By using a function called globals, and this will return what it returns here? Global dictionary. Then I can write G of global of A. I can write here global of what is that? B. Okay, global of A and global of B. I just write here global of A, and what is a global variable A? 100. What is a global variable B? 200. Can I modify it? Global of A equal to some 600 and global of yes G of B equal to what is that? 700. So I write the function 2 here, and within function 2, I'm trying to access A value and B value. So when I call the function 2, the function 2 A and B values are 600 and what? 700. Or I'll change it. This so 800 and this is what? 900. So it's a global variables. 800 and what? 900. So if variables are with the same name, if the variables are with the same name, see, this AB are the variables with the local, and this AB variables are what? Global. I want to use local AB and I want to use what? Global AB. But if I'm saying print A, first is given to the local. If I say print B, first is given to what? Local. But I want to access global. How can I access global? I have to get the global dictionary. But how can I get the global dictionary? By using what? Globals. So globals is a function that will return a global dictionary. Globals is a function that will return what here? Global dictionary. It returns a global dictionary. Okay, globals is a function that is returning what here? Global dictionary. Global dictionary, it is returning it. It is returning global dictionary. Okay, from global dictionary, there is a key. What is the key here? A. There is a key, right? What is the key here? A. Getting the value of A and getting the value of B. So for that, you are trying to use globals. There is one function here. What is the name of the function is globals, and that will return global dictionary, so that inside the function you can able to access local variables as well as what? Global variables which are with the same name, which are with the same name. Inside the function, you can access local variables and global variables which are with the same name. So globals is a predefined function in Python. So globals is a predefined function in Python. Okay, this function returns global namespace or dictionary. If local and global variables declared with the same name, we can access global variables. We can access global variables inside function using global dictionary, and we can get a reference of a global namespace using globals function. So that is if the variables are declared with the same name. If the variables are declared with the same name, and global namespace is a dictionary. in which global variables global variables are stored as key and what is that? Value. Now here you are accessing which variable? Global variable. Global variable A comma B. Now here what you are doing? Updating. Updating which variable? Global variable. Here also you are updating. You are updating which variable? Global variable. Here also you are updating which variable? Global variable. But this will return which dictionary? Global dictionary. Yeah, this is global local. But if you want to share a data between number of functions, then you declare that variables as what here? Global. If you want to share the data between number of functions, you declare the data as what here? Global. Okay. Okay. Yes. We'll see tomorrow more on this. But tomorrow I'll come early, right? Because these days I'm coming late, right? But tomorrow onwards I'll try to come early. Okay, come early so that we can start, right? Yes. Thank you. We'll see tomorrow.